A very good morning to you on the 6th day of May. It is a Tuesday and a little warmer here in Johannesburg, where I am sitting manning the buttons and the microphone. So we are with you again. We are tracking the storyline through the book of Philippians. It was a number of years ago that my wife and I took a flight. And it was from Johannesburg on an airline all the way over to a place called Venice. Now, Venice is in the Adriatic, on the Aegean Sea, actually. And we slept over and walked the streets of that city for a while, and then embarked on the QE2, and had a wonderful time, because that's the boat on which my brother got married. The boat docked a number of times along the Aegean. But if you were to take that trip from Venice on the Aegean and take a left into the Adriatic Sea, you come to a little place called Neapolis. It was an ancient city in Greece on the eastern border of the Roman province of Macedonia. Now, if you go about 16 and a half kilometers inland, northwest from Neapolis, you'd walk right into the heart of a city called Philippi. That's got nothing to do with Philippi with pepper steak, or cheese and onion, or whatever mixture you have when you make a pie. It's a little city. It's a Roman enclave, a strategic area in ancient times, and Philippi was set on a fertile plain on a very important highway. It was called the Ignatian Way, Via Egnatia. It was a trade highway that linked the Aegean and the Adriatic Seas. Many travelers passed through Philippi on their way to Rome. Again, you see Paul hitting strategic cities, not just by accident, but there seems to be quite a strategic reason for why he goes after these cities. The city of Philippi was so named and refounded first as Colonia Victrix Philippensium, because it was after that Octavian, when he was proclaimed emperor in 27 BC, this is Emperor Augustus, he reorganized the colony under the name Colonia Augusta Iulia Philippensis. And we have so many strands of Roman law and Roman memories running around, even in our culture today, right here in South Africa. Our system of law follows Roman Dutch law. And right here in the area where we live, over in Bedford View, got a little pizza spot called Lupa Osteria in Bedford View. And Lupa Osteria means roam away from home. Exactly the way I'm saying it. Lupa Osteria, it is roam away from home. So many Italians in this community go to that spot because of its wonderful gastronomic entities that are created. It's called pizza. It's also important to note that the territory of Philippi was centuriated. In other words, it was divided into 100 parts. Many of the Roman colonies were divided into hundreds Not only the land, but also the people, because it made for easy social, political maneuvering when it came to getting the people to back a particular thing. And so this little city of Philippi was known as the Rome away from Rome. Not Lupa Osteria now, which is the Rome away from home, but the Rome away from Rome. And it was so named because it closely imitated the mother city. It so closely imitated the life of the capital city. And having walked the streets of the city of Rome and walked around the Colosseum, oh, what memories! What memories. When you look at this huge structure which was used as the amphitheater for followers of the way, being torn apart by lions and gladiators fighting for their lives and for the amusement and the sport of the city. So Rome had left its imprint on Philippi. And our story begins in one of the 13 letters written by a latecomer to the way, and his name was Paul. He writes 13 letters, and these letters really recount the story of how the gospel permeates, or gently, as Churchill has so beautifully said, gently insinuated itself on the culture of Rome. Because you see, stories are fundamental to the way we think. Story is, uh, our cognitive ability is deeply meshed in story and how stories work. And so this latecomer, Paul, writes a letter to Philippi, the assembly at Philippi. The story unfolds across 3 acts. This would be the 13 letters of story. Because when you take them chronologically, Act 1 would be Galatians, 1st and 2nd Thessalonians. The book of Romans is right in there. So 6 books of the unfolding story where he defines the gospel. And then another 4, which is his middle correspondence. And in the middle section of the story, you have Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, and Philemon. And in the later part of the story, the 3rd act, Act 3, where you not only have the order that needs to be wrought within the life of the believing community, you have it move across the book of 1st Timothy, Titus, and then 2nd Timothy, and in that order. And so in Act 2 of the story, it is made up of 4 letters that track the vision that rises out of the gospel. As the gospel was taught, the vision was caught, because vision rises out of a content base. And that's none other than the good news of the gospel. And the storyline running through these 4 letters can be stated very simply as the body operates mindfully as the head mediates and arbitrates between us. And I put between us in inverted commas. Arbitrates the between us in life and living. Now let's unpack that a bit. The body operates mindfully as the head mediates and arbitrates between us in life and living. The book of Ephesians talks about the body, this amoebic modality called the body. And this body operates mindfully. Operating mindfully is what the story in Philippians is all about. The body, Ephesians, operates mindfully, Philippians, as the head, which is what Colossians is all about. The body is connected to the head. The assembly is connected to Christ. He's the head. And that's what Colossians is all about. Which mediates and arbitrates. That's what the book of Philemon is about. Paul mediates and arbitrates between Onesimus and Philemon. And he arbitrates the betweenness, the relationality that exists between two men. And the book talks about how we can mediate and arbitrate our way as we navigate relationships in life and living. So let me repeat that summary of the 4 books in the middle correspondence, in the middle of Paul's communiques to the assemblies. The body, Ephesians, operates mindfully, Philippians. As the head, Colossians, mediates and arbitrates. That's what Philemon is about. The betweenness in life and living. Now, don't be thrown by my word betweenness, because betweenness has to do with what happens between two entities, what happens between two people, two communities, two countries, two continents. That's the betweenness. What happens between one person and another person gives rise to a third element called betweenness. That's what we know as relationality. And you'll be quite shocked to know how that life functions on the basis of these triplications, these trinities. You'll find them all over life and living. But that's not our focus this morning. Our focus is on how that mindfulness matters, because that is what the book is all about. 104 verses, 4 chapters. Remember, the story or the letter or the story unfolding through this letter wasn't written as 4 chapters with numberings of verses. It was written, some manuscripts have capital letters all the way, as run-on lines. You know what a run-on line is? No full stops, no punctuation. And then some manuscripts were written with uncials, some minuscules and uncials. They were written in small script. And so this unfolding story is about how that mindfulness matters because of the humble mind exalted. That's the storyline in Philippians. What are you going to fill this pie with? Mindfulness matters because of the humbled mind exalted. And that summary rises out of the middle of the letter, from verse 5 to verse 11 of chapter 2. Let this mind be in who? In you. There are no owls around here hooting. It's not about hooting. It's about people who need to have the mind of Christ. And don't be thrown by the word mindfulness either. Don't commit the genetic fallacy that because mindfulness is spoken of by Orientals, that we are bringing a pagan idea into the idea of the way. Mindfulness is being strategically focused and paying attention to how Christ wants us to imbibe his life, his mind, and to be able to navigate where we live. And so that main idea again, this story is about mindfulness matters. Why does mindfulness matter? Because of the humbled mind. Jesus stepped out of eternity into history. He humbled himself, but ultimately he was elevated, given the highest place, highly exalted to the right hand of the Father. Mindfulness matters because of the humbled mind exalted. And we're going to grapple with this tension of why are our minds so out of sync with the mind of Christ? A mind that permeates the universe. Acts 17, verse 25 to 28. In him we live and move and have our being. The whole of the cosmos, the whole of the created universe exists inside of God. Mindfulness matters because of the humble mind exalted. And this is the goal for, ought to be the goal for every believing community, to experience that humbled mind. Because you see, life comes out of death. It's about order, disorder, and reorder. That's how the Lordship of Christ permeates our lives. From order to disorder to reordering our lives. It's highly transformative. And this is not fictitious, pie in the sky kind of stuff that you will apply in 20 years' time in your life. It's where the rubber meets the road. Again, our cognitive abilities are nested inside of stories. And so this believing community, it was here that the community of the followers of the way was founded in 49 to 50 AD on Paul's second itinerary. It was his second missionary journey. And he stops here. And it becomes Philippi, becomes the first Gentile outpost on European soil. It's the best way I can put it. Antioch was the first Gentile outpost in Asia, Asia Minor. But the first Gentile outpost in Europe would be the city of Philippi, which makes it a very significant stopping place. And it was 10 years after Paul's first stopover that he would pen a letter. He would write an epistle, send a communique. No place for emails, snail mail all the way. Pens a letter to them around 60 to 61 AD. And so the book across 104 verses is going to talk about how do we imbibe the mind of Christ? How does his mind become our mind and permeate our being? So that as we live out our story in his world, there is a tangent, there is a touching point with the cosmic story. Heaven comes down to earth. Please take note of that. Heaven comes down to earth. It's not earth trying to get to heaven and climbing Jacob's ladder to get to God. It's God coming down to earth. It's transcendence becoming immanent. Heaven comes to earth. What a wonderful opportunity you and I have. If we name the name of Jesus, then we are part of that family who have a relationship with God and whose minds in a very distinct way have been impacted by the mind of Christ. And so I trust that as we walk this road through these 104 verses of the storyline, that your cognitive abilities will truly become sated and impacted and brim with life as you make his mind your mind. Trust that you would have a good day as you go with God.